about healthy and unhealthy cooking methods. So the title of today's call is Sauce Over Sizzle. That's kind of like, what was that? Like forks over knives or, something over whatever. So sauce over sizzle. And then later, we will have our fearless leader, Mr. Terrence Hope, an Enagic 6A distributor extraordinaire, join us. And we'll have a great discussion also about Kangen water technology. So first, I want to bring this, actually, this is a part two, you could say, because we did on Saturday a call about meat, about the different types of meats you should be looking for, or what you should look for on a meat label, red meat, white meat, but particularly grass raised and or grass fed and grass finished meats, as well as pasture raised chickens, pasture raised eggs, etc. Just, and what those terms mean. But you know how there's a saying, it's not the crime, it's the cover up. Well, in this case, it might be, it's not the meat or whatever the food you're cooking, it's the cooking method. So I'm going to look today at a Healthline article about what is the healthiest way to cook meat. And there are some takeaways from this article or some uh, corollaries that are definitely related to vegetables, the way we cook vegetables, and also the dreaded grains like bread and whatnot. So we first talked about this topic in call number 50, which was the first, sorry, let me just take a peek. Yeah, Mr. Hope, if you could admit people when they show up on the screen, I would really appreciate that. Call number 50, which was the first in our 5-step cycle of cancer. Call number 50, we asked the question, are air fryers really healthy? And that was an interesting discussion, an interesting article, and actually some of the things that we discovered in some of that early research have been corroborated with later research. So that was call number 50, if you want to go back and check that out. All righty. So healthline.com comes to the rescue again. What is the healthiest way to cook meat? Meat is a staple food in many diets. It's tasty, satisfying, and it has an excellent source of high quality protein and other important nutrients. However, different cooking methods can affect the quality and the healthiness of meat. This article takes a detailed look at the changes that occur in meat during cooking, also provides guidance for choosing the healthiest cooking methods. All right, let me take one other peek at what's going on here before I dive into the article. Okie dokie. So what is the healthiest way to cook meat? Now remember, I can't emphasize it enough. We are not what we eat. You hear that, you are what you eat. You are what you eats. So it's so important to choose healthy meats as well as healthy vegetables, right? It's so important what environment they were grown in. So that makes all the difference on the front end. Now let's see what makes all the difference on the back end. How you cook your meat matters. Humans have been cooking meat for at least 250,000 years, according to estimates. Cooking meat breaks down any tough fibers and connective tissues, which make it easier to chew and digest. It also leads to better nutrient absorption. In addition, cooking meat properly kills harmful bacteria such as Salmonella and E. coli, which can cause food poisoning that results in illness or even death. However, cooking meat can reduce its antioxidant capacity depending on how it's cooked and for how long. Nutrients can also be lost during the process of cooking meat. The extent to which this occurs is strongly influenced by the cooking method. What's more, heating meat to high temperatures for long periods of time can lead to the formation of harmful compounds that may increase disease risk. And it's these compounds that we focused on in call number 50, and we're going to revisit them today. Read on now. Okay, so first cooking type, roasting and baking. And let me see, I'll just go down the list and then we'll dig into the details. So roasting and baking, grilling and broiling. Just think about the difference there. Simmering, poaching, and stewing. Pan frying and stir frying. Deep frying. Slow cooking. Maybe my favorite. You all know. Pressure cooking. And my new interest, sous vide. That's SOUSVIDE. Okay, so what's the difference between all of those categories of cooking? So we start with roasting and baking. Roasting and baking are similar forms of cooking using dry heat. Dry heat cooking differs from moist heat methods where meat is cooked in water or another liquid. The term roasting typically refers to cooking meat in a large dish called a roasting pan. A roasting pan often includes a rack to keep the meat above the juices that drip down as it cooks. It also lets the heated air get underneath it on all sides. This can be done in an oven rotisserie, a device that allows meat to cook on a slow turning spit. This technique was usually reserved for cooking large pieces of meat or entire animals, such as chickens or turkeys, or, bigger animals if you're more adventuresome. By contrast, baking is generally used for chicken, poultry, or fish rather than red meat. This meat is cooked in a baking dish that may be covered or may be open. Temperatures for roasting and baking vary from 300 to 475 degrees. That's 149 to 218 degrees centigrade. So first was Fahrenheit. Cooking time may vary from 30 minutes to an hour or more, depending on the type and cut of meat. Generally speaking, roasting and baking are healthy forms of cooking that result in minimal losses of vitamin C. However, during long cooking times at high temperatures, up to 40% of B vitamins may be lost in the juices that drip from the meat. Gathering these juices and serving them with the meat, which is sometimes called au jus on menus, can help minimize nutrient loss. What you don't want to do is make gravy from those drippings with a gluten containing flour. Now, I have seen, and I've said this over and over again, this is the best time ever in human history to be gluten-free because there's so many alternatives available, alternative flours, such as almond flour, coconut flour, walnut flour, and other alternatives like tapioca, like alternative thickeners, I'll say. So, I mean, the recipes just boggle the mind sometimes, but we have a lot of alternatives if you want a different texture than what you get with just the jus. So that's roasting and baking. A little bit of loss of vitamin C or vitamin B, but uh, generally healthy. Grilling and broiling are very similar because they are also dry heat methods. However, grilling involves cooking with a heat source directly below the food, such as an open grill or a barbecue. Temperatures usually range from 375 to 450 Fahrenheit, which is 190 to 232 centigrade. In broiling, the heat source comes from above, such as the broiler in your oven. Broiling occurs at very high temperatures, typically 500 to 550 degrees Fahrenheit, which correlates to 260 to 288 centigrade. Grilling is extremely popular because it imparts a delicious flavor to meat, especially steaks and burgers. Unfortunately, this method of cooking often leads to production of potentially harmful chemicals. When meat is grilled at high temperatures, fat melts and drips onto the grill or the cooking surface. This creates toxic compounds called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, that's PAHs, that can rise up and seep into the meat. PAHs have been linked to several types of cancer, including breast and pancreatic cancer. There was a study, I didn't find this study, but I've heard this study quoted many times where there was a cohort of nurses, and the nurses that ate grilled hamburgers had a the number that sticks in my head is 38% higher risk of breast cancer than the nurses that did not eat grilled hamburgers. Studies have found that removing the drippings can reduce the PAHs, the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, the formation by up to 89%. So in that case, a grill that allows drippings to leave, such as a George Foreman grill, may be a little bit healthier. But still, you can't overcook. There's still a risk of overcooking. Okay, because another concern with both grilling and broiling is that they promote the formation of compounds known as AGEs, AGEs, advanced glycation end products. Now, AGEs, we've talked about on this call multiple times, and the key word there is glycation, right? So glucose. So there's sugars in the meats that at high temperatures will turn into these advanced glycation end products. These have been linked to increased risk of several diseases, including heart disease, kidney disease, and skin aging. They are created in the body as byproducts of a chemical reaction that occurs between sugars and proteins. Chefs call this the Maillard reaction. They can also form in foods during cooking, especially at high temperatures. One study found that broiled beef had higher levels of AGEs than beef cooked by other methods. So broiling and grilling are not the ideal way because we don't want, but what do you do? Okay, we've got Memorial Day coming up. What you do if you're grilling, and we gave this tip on call number 50, you keep your cooking times as short as possible so you don't want the meat to get the grill line. So with hamburgers, they recommended keeping the grill maybe on indirect heat or keeping the heat on the lower side on the grill and flipping the burgers every minute so that the drippings can drip down and the grill lines don't form so much. Keeping, so you don't want char. And trust me, no one mourns the loss of the Maillard reaction from healthy cooking than I do, but I got to give it up. Okay. So, but this is another thing because the glycation products, sugars, right? There are also sugars in vegetables. And I don't remember if this article talks about vegetables, but you don't want grill lines on your asparagus or, what other vegetables you're putting on the grill. So we have to pick other tasty ways of cooking them. Next category, simmering, poaching, and stewing. Simmering, poaching, and stewing are similar moist heat methods of cooking. So let me just take a little detour for the potato because as you know, well, as I'm on a keto lifestyle, potatoes are not even in my vocabulary much anymore. But for those of you who still can incorporate carbs in your lifestyle, but you still want to avoid gluten, and potatoes are gluten-free. But if you look on the good food, bad food list, the crispy potato skins that you get with dry heat roasting or baking, they're on the bad food list because when that happens, the skin of the potato, the outside of the potato in dry heat forms acrylamides, which is another one of these compounds that promote cancer. So if you're cooking a potato, right, and you are roasting or baking it, either don't eat the skin, just eat the flesh of the potato, or if you wrap the potato, such as in aluminum foil, and put a little butter in there and sprinkle a little salt, bake it that way, or roast it that way, the foil keeps the moisture inside, and so those compounds do not form. And there are all other, there are a lot of other ways to make the potato that are healthy. The simmering, poaching, stewing, boiling, steaming. So get creative with your potatoes, but no frying and no dry heat. Okay. Now, simmering, poaching, and stewing are moist heat methods. Although cooking times are generally longer, the temperatures are generally lower. So poaching, the temperatures are 140 to 180 Fahrenheit or 60 to 82 centigrade. Stewing happens at 160 to 180 or 71 to 82, and simmering occurs at 185 to 200. So that's just below the boil in Fahrenheit and 85 to 93 degrees centigrade. Lengthy cooking in liquids at temperatures above 200 may cause meat proteins to toughen. Poaching involves shorter cooking times than stewing or simmering and is reserved for delicate foods like chicken, fish, duck, eggs. I love poached eggs. Okay, research has shown that cooking with moist heat at low temperatures can minimize the formation of advanced glycation end products. On the other hand, the lengthy cooking times for stewing and simmering can lead to a loss of B vitamins, nutrients that are typically high in meat and poultry. Up to 60% of thiamine, niacin, and other B vitamins may be lost from the meat as its juices run off. Fortunately, consuming the meat's juices as part of a stew or a soup can significantly reduce these losses. Pan frying and stir frying. Okay. Pan frying and stir frying both refer to cooking meat with fat in a skillet, wok, or pot. During stir frying, meat food is continuously flipped or stirred with a spatula as it cooks. Pan frying doesn't generally involve this type of constant movement. All of these methods use high heat. Cooking times are very short, which helps maintain tender meat with good flavor. These cooking techniques also promote the retention of nutrients and are less likely than many other methods to cause the cholesterol in fatty meats to become oxidized. Oxidized cholesterol is considered a risk factor for health disease. On the other hand, you guessed it, pan frying and stir frying have some drawbacks. That's why all frying is on the bad food list. Here we go. HAs, heterocyclic amines, are compounds capable of causing cancer. They're formed when meat reaches high temperatures during cooking. Studies have found that heterocyclic amines often occur during the pan frying of meat and poultry. It's the high heat hitting those proteins. Marinating meat in mixtures containing fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, high in antioxidants may help reduce the formation of heterocyclic amines. One study found that adding herbs to a marinade decreased heterocyclic amines by about 90%. In addition, it's important to choose a healthy fat when pan frying or stir frying. Well, we're not going to be pan frying and stir frying, but I'll give you the information. Most vegetable and seed oils are high in polyunsaturated fats that are prone to damage at high temperatures. Vegetable oils, seed oils. Heating these oils also promotes the formation of oxygenated aldehydes, potentially cancer-causing chemicals found in cooking fumes. So just standing over the stove, even if you don't eat it, you're cooking for a spouse maybe that insists on, a certain dish, you're still at risk from the fumes. Palm oil and olive oil have been shown to form fewer aldehydes than vegetable and seed oils during stir frying and pan frying. Other healthy cooking fats that are, I'm going to say, more stable at high temperatures, not completely stable, include coconut oil, lard, and tallow. Now, the oils, there's a great, and maybe I don't think we need to go deep into the great olive oil debate, but I have mentioned before that oils begin to oxidize when they're exposed to oxygen. And that is a big problem because they start forming trans fats, which are cancer causing. So while olive oil is healthy if you've got an olive tree in your backyard and you're squeezing those olives and getting the oil out and it's fresh, soon as oxygen hits it, it starts to degrade. So, and I know you've had this experience of going to the big box store, getting some, a good deal on olive oil off and it might even say imported. Yeah, right. Well, how long did it take to get there? I don't know. But you unscrew the lid and you get this smell. And it's, it started off awesome. It started off healthy. It started off extra virgin. But the transit time, the shelf time, and the exposure to oxygen, even just a little bit that's over top of between the oil surface and the lid, that starts the process of creating a rancid oil, these trans fats. Refrigeration helps to slow it, but ideally, and I asked about this. Let's say we had an olive tree or an olive oil processing plant that processed the oil under high nitrogen conditions, so no oxygen, and they packaged it in vacuum sealed packages, or yeah, vacuum sealed. So again, no oxygen is hitting that oil. That would be the ideal way to be able to get the benefits of olive oil. But other than that, the clock is ticking. As soon as they squeeze that olive or crush it or how press it, as soon as they press that olive, the clock starts ticking on that oil. Okay, deep frying out, just out. But why? It does make advanced glycation in products. It does make aldehydes. It does make heterocyclic amine. It makes all the bad stuff. So this combination of the oil, the proteins, and the sugars and the heat is just a recipe for disaster. Okay, two good methods. Slow cooking. Why? It's moist. Cooking temperatures are kind of on the low side, 190 Fahrenheit or 88 degrees centigrade. On low, a little higher on the high setting. And the cooking at the low temperatures protects the meat from and the vegetables from, and also being under a moist environment protects the meat or the food from developing these compounds. You can't overcook them, but slow cooking is definitely on the good list. And my favorite, pressure cooking. I could do a whole show about pressure cooking. Just know that your grandmother's pressure cooker is not the same pressure cooker they have today. The pressure cookers today are very, very safe. They're very even heating. Um, I I have a preference for the electric pressure cookers. They still make pressure cookers that you put on the stove and you hear the and the rocker rocks. Um, and actually, those pressure cookers I think make better tasting food. Yeah, I think I don't think I know it. The old pressure cooker that you put on the stove, and that's because some of the moisture evaporates, and that concentrates the flavor inside the pot. The pressure cooker that's electric, all of the moisture stays inside during the cooking process. So you just have to make allowances for that as far as your recipe or your cooking style, whether you use a rack to hold the meat out of the bottom liquids. There are all kinds of things you can do to really amp up the quality of your pressure cooking. Okay, sous vide. Uh, that's another show. But sous vide, you'll hear about sous vide, maybe. That is cooking under vacuum. So you put the raw meat, or usually it's meat, fish, whatever, in a vacuum bag, and then you put that vacuum bag in water at the temperature that you want it to be at the end, which that fascinates me. So if you know the ideal temperature, for instance, for a chicken breast, you put a vacuum bag chicken breast that's already seasoned. You put the seasoning in there with the chicken breast, so the seasoning is getting in there, and it's almost impossible to overcook. You can, like, if I the longest I've had a chicken breast under sous vide was like 7 hours. It was amazing, even after 7 hours, because the temperature stayed steady at, I think I do 140, 142, something like that. But sous vide it's a chemical miracle, marvel. I'll put that. It's a marvel. But we'll talk about sous vide more on another day. Okay, so healthy and unhealthy cooking methods, you have to think how hot, how long, and then is it wet or dry cooking, moist or dry heat that you're using. Okay, so we've got our healthy, clean, saucy, and sizzly uh, leader, Mr. Terrence Hope, an Adject 6A distributor extraordinaire. He's got the healthy sizzle. And I'd love to bring Mr. Hope to the call. Mr. Hope, I think you are co-hosted. So if you can, we welcome you to the call. Yay.
Welcome, hello all, and glad to be here with you. Wanted to get my lighting a little more ideal, but didn't have certain things over here, but at a remote location. Just liking to be here, loving being here, and loving to give the opportunity to give more information that people can understand more about Kangen water. We thank Dr. Singletary, MD, for all her information on healthy cooking. We have to tell you about hydration. We have to tell you about nutrition. We have to tell you about detoxification. But what about how you prepare your foods? Is there a toxic way to prepare it? Is there a healthier way to prepare it? Have you been taught how to do it the best way? And I love and appreciate Dr. Singletary's attention to detail, bringing us additional information that we can understand the healthiest way to prepare our meals for our family and live a healthy lifestyle. So once again, I thank you, Dr. Lisa Singletary, MD, CWHC, and so many other titles behind your name, and
XYZ.
XYZ, MPD. So, and we thank you so much. So as well, I'm here today to just share some information with you, just reminders about Kangen water, take your questions about Kangen water, how to use it properly, how to drink the water for best results, and go over some details. I'll just go over a couple of summary details on the water, and then as well, I'm going to uh, give you some instruction, some information that help you to understand better how to drink it for your better health benefits. And so, as I often do, I begin at the beginning. Yeah. Whoops. What am I sharing at all? I'll see my screen. Where's my screen? There we are. So you all can see my blue screen. Yes. Yes.
Beautiful
Okay.
blue.
Awesomeness. Thank you. So we change our water, we change our life. We're all advocates here of the Kangen water machines and Kangen water systems. We remember that Kangen water machines are antioxidant water machines and devices, and there's so many different uses for them. Our Kangen drinking water for 8.5 through 9.5, detoxification and hydration. Our acidic water as beauty water for our skin and hair, our strong acid water that's good to be used for sterilization of surfaces, also come found out to be good for your hair. Um, Strong alkaline water, um, named above here, which is excellent for emulsification of oil and removal of oil-based pesticides from your foods, like fruits and vegetables. Also use it to detoxify other items like chicken, fish, meat, rice, and so forth. And speaking of Dr. Singletary's description of better preparation in cooking, you can always begin by soaking your foods, almost like a koshering process, in 11.5 Kangen water, strong Kangen water, excellent for removing toxicity, purifying your food before preparing your meal. So purify it with strong Kangen water, 11.5. Prepare your meal as Dr. Singletary recommended, and you'll have a healthier meal overall for your family. We remind everyone that Kangen water is an electrolyzed reduced water by name, and there are many elements within it, including molecular hydrogen, that are used to produce an antioxidant effect when you're drinking this water. Electrolyzed reduced water is a process where electricity comes in direct contact with water, a process known as electrolysis. And when electrolysis is occurring, you get a formation of different types of ions and molecules that are responsible for the antioxidant effect of our Kangen water, or otherwise known as electrolyzed reduced water. Electrolysis is a process where electricity hits water directly at the molecular level. And when that happens, you get a reaction in the water that produces the antioxidant molecules I mentioned. We start with H2O, cacao. We hit it with electricity, and you get the restructuring of various molecules, hydroxide ions, which gives us a measuring tool to know the overall volume of antioxidant molecules within the water, letting us know if it's a strong antioxidant water or a mild. Um, Restructuring can look something like this. There's a great deal of science behind it under headings of active hydrogen, understanding electrolyte reduced water, and the different antioxidant molecules that occur. I often give people references to look at Science Direct, a publication that goes over trends in food science and technology as an article. February 12, 2012, volume 23, issue 2 pages. And you'll see a great deal of information about the scavenging um, of free radicals, the detoxification that can occur when you're drinking the water, and the different elements involved in our electrolyte reduced water, as we like to call it in our brand name, Kangen water. Yeah. So we want to detox, hydrate, and get to proper health. We remind everyone that proper nutrition leads to full health. And even as we look at the animals in the wild and take a note, if we will, that they are completely healthy. They don't suffer from any of the types of health conditions that humans deal with. They eat produce and protein. They continue on in good health. They're all completely fit. There's no issues of obesity. There's no dialysis center they've gone or scurry off to get their blood flushed. There's no incidence of cancer, unless, of course, they're exposed to our environmental dangers, like industrial plants and that can pollute their waters, or if they are kept as pets and fed by humans in the same type of chemical ridden foods that we eat and processed foods that we endure in our diet, they can have issues as well. But we see in the wild produce, protein, mineral rich soil that's not farmed in these forests and jungles, and an environment where they can thrive and live in peace and health, minus, of course, the occasional predator. So uh, eat organic, eat healthy, drink excellent water like Kangen water, stay healthy, and live as you're designed to live. We remind everyone that the body is self-healing. If you get a scratch or a cut on a finger, this little girl's gone through a few bumps and bruises out there. Put a Band-Aid on it, wait a couple of days, and we look to see how it's healed. Not if it's healed, but how it's healed, because we know that the body being self-healing can recover itself in its healing process on the surface of the skin. If we look down to the depths of the bones, we look at the same thing, that the body is self-healing. If there's a break to a bone or a hairline fracture, we know we're putting a cast on that to keep it still, so that as it heals itself, it will heal evenly, and in the proper form that the body was designed to be in. We're not doing anything extra magical. The doctor's not giving the customer or the patient anything particular, maybe painkillers, but they've got to stay up on proper nutrients so the body can rebuild itself, and they are simply healing themselves in the process. So skin heals itself at the surface, bones heal themselves at the depths. What you may not have realized is that the body continues to heal itself right down to the cellular level, as long as your proper nutrition is present, proper hydration, and proper detoxification. These are things we want to emphasize. There's some things I'm going to be going over in the future and future talks, as we talk about proper hydration and proper detoxification. And I'm going to recommend, as we go forward, looking at our air environment and what things we can do to keep our air healthier. We know that these days in the worldwide health environment, there's been issues about microbes and viruses and so forth. Getting yourself a nice little handy air ionizer that kills microbes in the air, with an ozonator, that you can breathe that in, and even have some health benefits as air is coming into your body, um, so that that is healthier, so that you can guard yourself that much more from air, water, food, detoxification, and we could be that much more thorough. So we're adding another element to our list of things. We say hydration, nutrition, detoxification. Now we're talking about air. So I'll be bringing that up more as we go forward, but these are some things we can talk about. Air ionization and ozone production from the air ionizers. These are like filters that can be beneficial. So I'll go forward with that another day. Our body can become toxic just like a fish tank. We must detoxify the body so it can stay healthy, just like we have to remove toxins from our fish tanks. Here we are. Um, the body is mostly water. The bloodstream, the cells, every function of the body requires water. Making sure you're fully hydrated, making sure that you've got the best water within your body will give you opportunities for best health. The beauty about Kangen water is that it is as an electrolyzed reduced water, an antioxidant water. So now all the cells in your body utilize water. It must be everywhere for its function. Now you have an antioxidant water present at all the different cellular levels within the body, all the organs, and now you've got a better opportunity for proper function because you need to have hydration to reach the cells and proper detoxification. So we encourage this. Something I want to show you, just as a reminder, as I always say, the body is not entirely alkaline, as we've been often as we've been often told. The body has different chambers, different organs that have different pH levels. We have to remember that you're not alkalizing your body when you're drinking Kangen water. You're actually detoxing the body because Kangen, as an electrolyzed reduced water, is an antioxidant or detoxing water. So we're removing toxicity at an optimum rate because the body is self-regulating in its function of pH and, of course, everything else. We're not consciously doing anything in our body. It's very much an involuntary functioning system, and makes you wonder at what point does the what do you call that, involuntary end, and where does exactly this voluntary begin in a fully automated involuntary functioning body. Hmm? So that's another thing for a mind twister. But as we look here, we notice that gastric secretions, as they're talking about in the stomach area, are more acidic. We can look here and see, even on any one of these charts, they give me more information over here, that the different parts of the digestive system have acidic chambers depending on the stage of digestion. We can look at the large intestines and see the range from an acidic range to a neutral. Same thing with the small intestines. We can look at the upper stomach, 4.0 to 6.5 is listed here. Even the saliva in your mouth, 6.5 to 7.5. That can be an acidic range to an alkaline range, depending on the stage of digestion, depending on what your body's doing at the time. So we are not looking to alkalize your body, as has been often said. We're looking to detox your body so that the self-regulating mechanism of the body have less of a burden to work its way through to maintain your pH balance. You can sort of eat things and drink things that can be more toxic, that can cause your body to have a greater difficulty in maintaining pH balance because of the imbalance that's occurred because of those toxic substances in your system. However, if we can remove toxicity, optimize nutrition, hydration, and have good air quality, look, we're throwing something in there, at least I am. We have the opportunity for the body to be functioning best as it is designed to do. Yeah. So very important things for us to know. Now, I want to just go back one of my slides here. I'm going to show you something here. I'm not sure how easy it is to see, although I might be able to bring up a slide. Can I get to a slide? Can't get anywhere. Can't get anywhere. I'll leave the screen. So looking on your machines, as you all are very much familiar, you have an 8.5 setting, 9.0, and 9.5 setting on your machine. In early campaigns for the Kangen water machines, distributors were being told and promoting the drinking of 9.5 pH water, even a urgency to get to that level of the water to have a good benefit. But in my studies and experience, I have seen something entirely different, that 8.5 and 9.0 and 9.5 are best suited for body types that can best absorb that water and detox comfortably. You know, if a person is overweight, if they're obese, for example, if that's an issue, the 9.5 will be pulling from all the toxins throughout their body, the fatty cells, the major organs, the muscles, the cellular systems. You know, with a person who's got extra weight, you've got more toxic load within the fatty cells. And sometimes that could be a larger mass of cells that may be larger than your body's original design. So you'll be delivering at a 9.5 a very high volume of these toxins from the fatty cells and as well as the other organs. This can easily overwhelm the body and disable your ability to remove toxicity. So what I recommend is everyone start at the 8.5 pH level for the first 30 days, and then make your way up to the 9.5 level. After that, if your body type is made for it. If you're overweight or obesity is an issue, 6 months to a year at 8.5 is what I recommend, or consistent use until the body weight comes down, because you could overwhelm the body with toxins trying to be released at the higher level of 9.5, which is a larger volume of antioxidant molecules that can overwhelm the body in the process. So 8.5, and then even if your body's not necessarily overweight, you never know what your toxic load is, particularly when you're first starting and when you're first recommending these machines and water to people, and they could have a higher toxic load than you can imagine. So 8.5 for the first 30 days for the average weighted person. 9.0 and 9.5 can be gradually achieved after that. And you feel your way through your body, how you feel, what's best, and how you best function. Um, Getting a proper detox that's comfortable, getting good results. Here's something I found early on in my explanations of the Kangen water machines. Found that there were many people who own machines anywhere from 1 to 5 to 7 years. And while drinking this electrolyte reduced Kangen water, were not getting the results they had hoped for. Why? They had jumped up to the 9.5 level, and they were at a level in the water use that their body really couldn't detox at. It was too much leaving the body at one time. I like to call it a traffic jam in the colon, where substances really can't be released properly. And because of that, you end up with a kickback, if you will, of toxins that couldn't leave the body, ending up back in the bloodstream. This can cause dizziness, nausea, headaches. It can cause you to be in a situation where you can't release the toxins and then therefore cannot recover in your health. The whole idea is to remove toxicity so that the body has a lesser burden of maintaining pH balance. The molecular hydrogen in the water produces more energy to the cells. And this is an environment where the body can be most self-healing. You're not going to get that if you can't get rid of the toxins. So I noted that in the first 2 weeks of this call, as it was audio only some years ago, everyone who was on the call who had not seen results in drinking Kangen water at the 9.5 all dropped to 8.5 and all received the results they were always hoping for. So there's a way to drink the water to get the best results. You don't want to jump up to the higher levels and drink water at a level that your body can't handle. You want to get the proper results. So this is a very important teaching here, and it's very important for people to be aware of and to know. So just some little notes here as we talk about the different aspects of Kangen water on different calls, and I go into different details on different subject matters so you can understand better how to use it to get great results for you and your loved ones and family and friends. Here we are. All right, so I'm going to pause there with my little expose on Kangen water, and as well encourage people to where am I? Drink Kangen water. It's good for you. Ask us questions on the Q&A session that we have available now. Come on in, and we'd love to take your questions and be a resource for you. Dr. Lisa Singletary, MD, MPD, CWHC. Wop. Your turn. Actually, Dr. Singletary, I don't think I can hear you. I just realized what that was. I thought it was my audio system, but yeah, okay.
You're exactly right.
I said, it's me, it's me, it's me. No, it's not me.
I'm telling you, I got so many mute things here. Because on my microphone, I can see that it's unmuted,
Ah,
right?
right,
So I was like, no problem. It's blue. It's not muted because it's red
right.
when it's muted. But I had muted the Zoom, Anyway, what I was talking about was toxins. When you talk about toxins lodged in adipose tissue, that happens when our bodies aren't we don't have we don't have the enzymes to break down these artificial chemicals that are in our environment that we're exposed to. We get that, right? Well, take that back to the meat, right? Because I used to, the first time I heard about grass fed and organic, and so being the the hubris filled medical professional that I was like, what is that all about? But you think about it, uh, you have one animal that's under stress, that's eating gluten, that can't absorb nutrients, not being given nutrients. You have another animal that's eating minerals and, grazing on grass and eating, whatever they eat, bugs or whatever's um, the produce, like you said, Mr. Hope, that they're eating. That's got to make a difference in what's stored in the fat in those animals. And so I'm all about these days voting with my wallet, spending a little bit more for the organic, the grass fed, the grass raised, the pasture raised, you know, local farm to table experiences as much as possible. And, you know, this is a choice. These are choices that may not make a difference over the next year for me, but they will make a difference, I believe, over the next 10 years, 20 years, et cetera. Now, that makes me want to disclaim. Okay. Feel the disclaiming. Feel the disclaiming. Disclaimer, 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 disclaimer. We do not diagnose, cure, treat, prevent any diseases here. We do not make claims of health claims, financial claims, uh, any claims. We make any claims. What we do is we learn the science behind giving the body what it needs, and then the body can do what it's designed to do. Everybody disclaimed? All right, so Mr. Hope, I haven't looked in the chat at all. Do we have any questions
See, so
or comments?
far, I don't know that I've seen any people with a hand up. Let me see. So right now, I don't see any hands up. Everyone's just kind of listening in, shy as a bell. Um, Not many questions on their mind. But
So,
we remind everyone that they can unmute themselves as we're going to give you all access to unmute uh, and have the opportunity to ask your questions, anything about the Kangen water machines, anything about nutrition, anything about some of the items we spoke about today. And we will, right, take those questions and look to be an answer to you all. Um,
so I want to share my screen just for a second. Um, I think I can do this. All right, so oh, okay, so here's how you spell sous vide, just in case. This is the article that I referenced today from Healthline. What is the healthiest way to cook meat? Uh, it is evidence based and it was updated last August. But I want to share this Google search that I did, Cancer from Cooking. Look at some of the titles of some of these magazines or articles that I did not reference. Impact of cooking oil fume exposure, hidden risks of cooking your food, chemicals in meat cooked at high temperature and cancer. Fumes from meat cooking and lung cancer risk in Chinese women. Association between cooking oil fume exposure and lung cancer. Again, this was in China. Chinese food cooking and lung cancer in women. Avoid cancer with this cooking technique for meat. All about cooking and carcinogens. Is how you're preparing your meat increasing your risk? And this is from the National Cancer Institute. Grilled meat and cancer risk. Healthy barbecue tips. Okay, so this is a big, big deal. Now, I see your question, Adrian. Is cooking with aluminum foil safe? So, as long as the foil is intact. Now, my preference for foil these days is I always use the heavy duty foil because I find that the thin foil is more at risk of either cracking or degrading during cooking. I also, if I I tend to use the release foil that doesn't allow the meat or the fat to stick to the foil. My preference is cooking with stainless steel, right? So aluminum foil, definitely it's not ideal, but the worst risk from aluminum foil is when you're cooking something that's acidic, like something with tomato products. You'll actually find that the acid actually burns into the foil and releases aluminum into the food over a long period. Now, I'll tell you, cooking in aluminum cookware, if that is all the cookware that you use. So when you say cooking with aluminum foil, in my mind, we're just covering something over in the oven with the foil, maybe. But um, there, I remember growing up, and we used to cook with aluminum cookware, and I remember there was a time when we actively switched from aluminum to stainless steel and even tempered glass, baking dishes, ceramic. So yeah, so when you say cooking with aluminum foil, not ideal, but uh, it's exacerbated by uh, cooking acids. So you don't want to cook reactive foods with aluminum foil. You don't want to wrap reactive foods with aluminum foil. Once we heard the studies about aluminum and possibly having a link to Alzheimer's, uh, or other inflammations in the body, we started when we use foil. We would line the foil with a plastic wrap, hopefully BPA free, like a food grade plastic wrap. And then, so the plastic wrap is touching the food and the aluminum foil is on the outside of that. I actually heard Emeril Lagasse, the chef, he had this recipe for ribs. Ooh, I remember the apartment I was living in because I remember the entire apartment building smelled like ribs because it was a low, slow, like we cooked it at 180 degrees for, I'm going to say 12 hours, something like that. And he wrapped it in, and I had to buy some, like the heavy food grade plastic wrap and then foil over top that. Now, I was worried about the plastic melting, but it didn't. It was perfect. So, does that answer the question, or do you want to unmute yourself? I should have asked you to unmute. There you go. Feel free to unmute yourself. But yeah, aluminum pans. I still see in some markets, I see aluminum pans and it's like, no, no, people should not cook in aluminum pans because that's a constant exposure to aluminum, particularly if they're cooking uh, um, anything that has tomatoes in it, anything that's acidic, it will over time leach the aluminum out of the pan into the food. Very bad. Okie dokie. Um, oh my, it's 2 after 2. Okay, so obviously this is one of my favorite topics. So, oh, you're very welcome. And I could talk food all day. I got a shelf over there. There's nothing but cookbooks and Bibles. It's just all together, and, and concordances and stuff like that. But I thank you for joining us today from around the globe. Thank you, Mr. Hope, for giving us so much value today. This was a fun way to for me to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. I don't really know how I'm going to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, but thank you for joining us today on Cinco de Mayo. And this was not This was not played live on Facebook, but later on, the recording will be available on Facebook and on YouTube. So I will let you guys know that, preferably via email. So if I have your email address, awesome. I'm looking down the list, and I think, well, there are a couple of iPhones here, so I don't know whose iPhones they are, but um, if I've communicated with you by email even today, then you're in. But if I haven't, then please let me know, um, either via text or via um, contacting us at Kangen Water Radio. And let me see. Oh, Mr. Hope, you have that pretty slide on how to contact us. So we will be here on Saturday at 1 p.m. We're here Wednesdays and Saturdays. And oh, please, when you do see the replays on YouTube or on whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, please, if you find that you're getting value from us, love us, like us, give us some comments. We would just love to hear from you. Also, for now, we are on the Dr. Lisa Health Zoom on Wednesday and the Kangen Water Radio Zoom on Saturday. We're working on getting it all on one Zoom all the time. So stick with it. Thank you for sticking with us. I love it that you're here. And we are just encouraged that you've been through with us throughout this whole journey. So any final words, Mr. Hope? I don't see. Or anyone else have a hand up or any more questions? All righty. Well, I wish you all a beautiful rest of the week, and we will see you on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Kangen Water Radio. Thank you for joining us today. We love you all. Bye-bye.